These three people have been brought back from the dead to restore the human race that went extinct centuries ago. A flying robot enters a lake in a deserted area, and a blue, sparkling substance comes out of it. The substance forms a human man who rises to the surface. The man is named Ezra. The robot shines a light on Ezra's head, and visions of his life, his family, and an alien invasion flash in his mind. Ezra awakens, and bewildered, he swims to the shore. After Ezra, two more people emerge from the lake named Abram and Fina. The drone verifies all of their identities by shooting a dart in their necks. The three people try to remember how they ended up in this place, but none of them can recall. They walk around and find the wreckage of a warship. Fina recognizes it as the warship of the alien race Carrick, which invaded Earth 2 years ago. However, it looks like it's been there for centuries. They find parts of a car, which appear to have decomposed naturally, except that would take centuries to happen. Furthermore, Abram states that he is supposed to be 67 years old, but he looks like he did when he was 25. The red drone explains that they have been resurrected in their prime years. The invasion was actually 400 years ago, and they all died in it, along with the rest of humanity, which went extinct. They have been recreated by the blue substance in the water called the sparks, with the goal of restarting the human species. The drone says that the rest of their questions will be answered at the settlement, where the other resurrected humans live. The trio gathers food and equipment which the drone has placed for them, and Ezra is instructed by the drone to gather the sparks in a container. They start moving. After walking for a while, they arrive in front of giant metallic arches. Abram, who is happy to have regained his youth, runs toward the arches. He touches a symbol on an arch and starts convulsing. When he breaks free, he says that he saw everything. Just then, the red drone is shot by a man in the distance, and so is Abram. The trio runs for their life, and the man pursues them. Ezra manages to take out the man who is chasing them and ties him up. The man's name is Jax, and he tells the trio that there is no settlement and that the drones are lying to them. Ezra notices something glowing on the back of Jax's neck, and he reveals that it is a skin rider, a creature that is one with the human it attaches itself to. Jax says that he just wants the sparks, but the trio doesn't trust him. As they are about to leave, Jax claims to know Ezra's brother, but Ezra doesn't believe him. The trio walks a little while more and decides to stay in a nearby cave for the night. Meanwhile, other skin riders arrive to rescue Jax, and Ezra's brother Silas is in fact among them. At night, the trio discusses how the sparks not only recreated them, but also their brain states, their personalities and memories. They are bewildered at how it's possible. Abram's wound from the shot is getting worse, and a skin rider is beginning to form on the back of his neck. Ezra makes a hunch that if Abram is placed in the water with the sparks, he'll be cured. His hunch is proved correct. Abram wakes up in the morning completely healed. Next, the trio climbs a high ground and sees the settlement in the distance. However, as they arrive near it, a gang of skin riders appears behind them. Ezra fights them off, while the other two run for the door of the settlement. Ezra is caught off guard when he sees that one of the skin riders is Silas. The door of the settlement is opened by a yellow drone. The drone tranquilizes the skin riders and rescues Ezra. The trio notices that the settlement is completely deserted, and the yellow drone answers their questions by showing them a graveyard, containing the graves of the previous settlers, all of whom died. Meanwhile, the skin riders catch one of their own in the jungle, who ran away after the skin rider in his neck stopped working. The man is named Duncan. Silas vows to cure him. Ezra demands to know what happened to the previous settlers, and the yellow drone takes them inside the centuries-old military base, which has been turned into the settlement, to answer his question. The drone explains that the previous settlers were killed by a novel virus, and that the virus is still spread all over the region. It is likely that the trio already has it. The yellow drone speaks to the sparks and learns that they can create a vaccine, but they need to go to the lake, where the raw material for creating the vaccine is available in the living ecosystem. Fina starts to bleed from her nose, revealing her sickness. She decides to stay at the settlement while the two men go to the lake and bring back the vaccine the sparks will create. On the way to the lake, Ezra asks the yellow drone who is responsible for resurrecting the humans. The yellow drone replies that it follows the commands of the sparks, but who commands the sparks is unknown. Meanwhile, Fina decides to take a crack at fixing the red drone. However, her health begins to deteriorate. Ezra reveals to Abram that one of the Skin Riders is his brother. This means that the Skin Riders are also humans that the sparks resurrected. He remembers the Carrick invasion and how his relationship with Silas was strained during that time because he was a soldier trying to help, and Silas was always messing up. He remembers making Silas feel like a worthless and clueless little boy, and that is why he is going to seize this chance to break Silas free from the control of the Skin Rider in his neck and apologize to him. A delirious Fina sees Lynn, who was Ezra's wife 400 years ago. Lynn reveals that she can help Fina because she is a nurse, but then she disappears. Fina thinks that she is going crazy, but then Lynn reappears. It is revealed that Lynn's brain state is stored inside the red drone just like the trio's was, and the drone is projecting her as a hologram to help Fina. At the lake, the yellow drone tells Abram and Ezra that Skin Riders are approaching. Ezra tells Abram to run and hide, and tries to subdue and capture Silas himself. His attempt fails, and he is knocked out by the Skin Riders. When he wakes up, he finds himself alone with Silas. Silas explains that they call the glowing creature in their necks companion, and the companion teaches them how to behave correctly. He says that because of the companion, he has stopped being the screw-up that he was in his previous life and become the spiritual leader of the Skin Riders. He says that a companion has not been given to Ezra because Silas wants Ezra to join them voluntarily. Suddenly, the companion in Silas's neck stops glowing, and he falls asleep. Right before sleeping, he signals Ezra to leave. Ezra finds Abram and explains to him that the glowing creature in the Skin Rider's neck is a parasite that controls them. And when Silas's parasite powered down, the real Silas briefly emerged and signaled Ezra to leave. He says he is going to save Silas from the parasite. The two men return to the lake and find the vaccine capsules created by the sparks. They take their own and head back toward the settlement to give Fina hers. Fina is in a terrible state, and Lynn asks the red drone to replace her with someone close to Fina, so she is comforted in her last moments. A hologram of Duncan appears. The next day, Fina awakens completely healthy because Ezra brought her vaccine to her in time. Meanwhile, the yellow drone guides Abram to a room where there is a giant metallic obelisk. Silas discusses with Duncan the purpose of the companions, and Duncan, whose companion isn't working for now, says that this is slavery. Silas argues they are not slaves, but servants. At the settlement, symbols appear on the obelisk, and Abram somehow understands what they mean. He is the only one who does. He explains to the other two that the beings that resurrected them are ordering them to recover a weapon buried in the forest, and in return, more humans will be resurrected. Ezra is skeptical of all this, but Abram says that bringing back more humans and restarting the human race is their primary goal. Ezra heads out into the forest alongside the yellow drone. Meanwhile, Silas brings Duncan to a sparring match with Jax, supposedly to humiliate him because he is a human right now. However, when Duncan defeats Jax, Silas stops the fight. In private, Silas explains that he had a theory that humans react faster in combat compared to Skin Riders, and it has just been proven true, because Duncan's companion isn't working right now, and he is only human. The reason for this is that human neurological signals only pass through their brain, while in Skin Riders, the signal has to pass through the companion's brain as well, causing a fractional delay. His solution to this involves a neurological surgery, but to perform it, they need a working drone and a human test subject. Next, Silas gives Duncan some of the sparks that they have collected to fix his companion. He explains that it is in the nature of the sparks to heal any living organism that is fully formed. This is why the sparks destroyed the companion in Abram's neck earlier. It wasn't fully formed yet. Ezra arrives in the forest and starts digging, and he is spotted by a Skin Rider. Ezra asks the yellow drone what the weapon is for, and it replies that it's for killing Skin Riders. Ezra isn't very comfortable with that idea since his brother is among the Skin Riders. Just then, the yellow drone warns Ezra that Skin Riders are approaching. He tries to make a run for it, but is captured. The Skin Riders take the weapon, and it accidentally fires off, killing one of them. Ezra takes advantage of the situation and runs away with the weapon. Back at the settlement, Fina speaks to the now fixed red drone and tries to understand who is resurrecting the humans, but the red drone does not give a direct answer. She expresses a desire for Duncan to be resurrected, not knowing that it has already happened, and that he is a skin rider. Ezra brings the weapon to the obelisk, but refuses to use it on skin riders until the beings behind the obelisk explain what is going on. The drones, which are controlled by the obelisk, say that they can bring back Ezra's family, but only if he obeys all their commands. Ezra is frustrated, but agrees. Later at night, Fina and Ezra sit by the obelisk and notice that the weapon has opened up on its own. Next, the obelisk issues new commands, telling Fina to go to the lake and collect new humans that are being resurrected. However, on the way, she is spotted by skin riders led by Jax. Back at the settlement, the yellow drone explains to Abram that the companions on the skin riders' necks are crystalline creatures that are deeply connected to the human brains. The crystals are what the weapon destroys. When a skin rider dies, his or her crystal is taken to a giant crystal field called the Ancestor, which contains the memories of all the skin riders of the past. The Ancestor is what the weapon is actually made to destroy. The new human to be resurrected is Lynn. Fina helps her out of the lake, but just then Jax arrives. The red drone shoots him with a tranquilizer and the girls try to escape, but they are interrupted by Duncan, who doesn't recognize Fina, much to her sorrow. They fight him off and keep running, but Lynn injures her foot. She tells Fina to go and send Ezra to find her. The skin riders bring Lynn to Jax, and Jax shows her how the sparks heal organisms by healing her foot. Suddenly, Jax is hit in the head by a stone. A little girl appears and takes Lynn away. The little girl brings Lynn to her makeshift home, and Lynn discovers that the girl can't speak. Fina arrives at the settlement and tells Ezra everything. Ezra says he is going after Lynn, but the force field around the settlement doesn't open to let him leave. The drones say that he can't go because once the skin riders capture a human, there is no coming back for that person. Ezra is furious. Jax catches Lynn and the little girl and explains that sometimes the sparks mess up when creating a human, resulting in people who can't talk or perform other functions, like this little girl. She is a reject, a mistake. He says that the drones, the sparks, and the beings behind them don't really care about humans. He offers to destroy the little girl, but Lynn bargains with him. She says she will go with him if he lets the girl go free. Jax agrees. Lynn arrives at a skin rider ceremony where Silas removes the crystal from the skin rider who died holding the weapon earlier to be taken to the Ancestor. Abram finds a notebook at the settlement and notices that the handwriting in it is his own. He concludes that this isn't the first time he's been resurrected. He's been here before. The yellow drone confirms this theory and shows Abram the grave where his previous body is buried. Extinct is a 2017 TV series that was received very well by audiences and created a lot of excitement. Its cancellation after only one season was primarily attributed to disputes behind the scenes more than anything else. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.